Good morning, YouTubers. Thank you for joining me. Hope everyone has a very happy New Year's. I hope next year, 2023, is going to be better than what it is this year. Before I start, I want to mention that a lot of people think that during times of disaster, the government or emergency services are going to come to your rescue. Well, that is not the case. Often there's a shortage of emergency vehicles, responders, things like that. And sometimes it's just too darn dangerous for them to send out people. So everyone should prepare for a disaster on their own, such as the volcanic White Island eruption. Responders there, the emergency services, said that it was too dangerous to send personnel there to rescue those that were on the island during the eruption. It ended up just average citizen heroes that saved the people. Even with the earthquake there in Northern California, they ran out of emergency responders. They couldn't respond to the people that had called 911 for help from injuries. Because of the earthquake, one of the fire station's doors were jammed. Probably the building shifted, or the tracks for the garage doors shifted. And it took them 15 minutes to unjam the doors and get the fire equipment out. Same thing in Boston. The roads were so plugged up with snow and abandoned vehicles, first responders couldn't get out to respond to many of the 911 calls. But it's amazing how the looters risked their lives to go out and steal what they wanted to steal. These are three very good examples of the importance of being prepared for a disaster and knowing first aid, have medical supplies, food, water, emergency power backup, a way of maybe communicating with your loved ones. Sometimes cell phones tower go down. Once in a while, when that does happen, you can probably still get text messaging out, but you will basically be on your own. More than likely, it would be the same situation if Yellowstone ever blew. Even a minor eruption, they would wait until it settled down before sending in emergency personnel. The worst threat there at Yellowstone would be a large hydrothermal eruption. White Island was basically a small eruption compared to what could happen here at Yellowstone. And the people there that were burned actually had their skin rubbing off of their body, dripping from their faces from the hot steam, the pyroclastic flow. One of the largest hydrothermal eruptions was probably Mary's Bay. That was so large that it actually created a tsunami. That was about 8,000 years ago, and it created a 2,300 foot wide crater. Another area for an eruption would be Little West Thumb caldera. Now, that one erupted about 160,000 years ago. Hydrothermal eruptions come with no warning whatsoever. Pork Chop Geyser I talked about in my last video of Yellowstone. That erupted, I believe, in 1989. It threw out large boulders bigger than a person, about 200 feet from the area. Going to Google Earth, here's the image of Pork Chop Geyser. There's the boardwalk. You can kind of see some of the larger rocks here that are still, present. Here's another image of Pork Chop Geyser, a little bit closer view. And let's go back to Google Earth. There you go. I just noticed it over here. Is that Bigfoot? I wish I could zoom in on that. If I move down farther on the boardwalk, yeah, you can't see that anymore. Wow. Never know. Let me go back. Yeah, what is that right there? Let me go a little bit farther down the boardwalk. Yeah, very strange. Yeah, I went down a little bit farther. I don't see it just in that one image. All right, there's the area they have for Pork Chop Geyser. I went to the other side of the boardwalk to see if I can see anything in here. Oh, wouldn't it be the first time I caught images that supposedly looked like Bigfoot? Yeah, let's go down the path a little bit here. Getting off subject here. Yeah, so besides hydrothermal eruptions, we know about all the people that have come up missing at the park. Yeah. Bigfoot abductions? What are your thoughts? Yeah, put that down below. I don't see anything over here that would be like a dead tree that would have shown up from the observatory, which is over here. But anyways, yeah, look at the size of those rocks. You want to read a good book about Yellowstone eruption and the mindset of those there. Read Cataclysm, Tim Washburn. It's a very good book. It's about the eruption of Yellowstone, how they just kind of downplayed everything, and the people that were in the park trying to get out. Yeah, it's really good. I'm no way associated with Amazon, but I do, recommend this book. Yeah, we got some buffalo here that are roaming. Oh, speaking of buffalo, late last night, about 6:30 p.m., a truck hit a truck and two cars. Ran into some buffalo that were on the road, the highway just outside of the park, killing many of them, and many of them had to be euthanized because of their injuries. They will often use the roads to travel across or travel down because, the snow's been removed and making it easier for them. A unknown person sent in this image of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the buffalo. Looks like they were pushed off the road with a loader. Yeah, that one's just a baby there. Yeah, so very sad. 13 of them were killed. The speed limit there, I guess, is about 55 miles an hour. When the truck hit them, and then two cars probably following ran into the other ones. None of the drivers of the vehicles were injured. Yeah, I'm sure they got some great damage to their vehicles. And being late at night, dark, they do not have reflective eyes like deer do. And, being the dark color, they probably didn't see them until it was way too late. Yeah, driving that fast, just such a tragedy. According to the news, it was just outside of West Yellowstone on Highway 191. So going to Google Earth, here we have Highway 191. We got the Madison River area. This here is West Yellowstone. Oh, that's not Highway 191. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, there we go. Up over here. Yeah, by the airport. And then it goes up. Okay. Yeah, I don't know where. They could have been coming around a corner. Who knows? But let's bring this out. Yeah, this is a Hedgen Lake. It happened at mile marker 4. So probably somewhere within this area. We got a West Yellowstone transfer site. I think that's used for shipping when they're culling the buffalo. And here we have a street view. So it happened somewhere within this area. Such a tragedy. So very sad. Yeah. Yeah, they could have been coming from the park down the road, and maybe they were crossing somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, this is probably the area where it happened at. The reason I say that, let me go back to the image. Yeah, you can see the building here. This is probably the transfer station. Yeah, if they escaped from there, would they even admit it? I don't know. Yeah, that's so very sad. USGS is only reporting one earthquake today. This is the first one they're reporting since the 27th. They're saying it was a magnitude 2.3, but it wasn't. It was a 2.8. And maybe bring it down. It was down here again. See, by Heart Lake. And I've talked about the unzipping of Yellowstone. How it started up here in the Madison River area where they have all the earthquakes. And had multiple eruptions, explosions, hydrothermal eruptions, until it got down here counterclockwise to Heart Lake. And that's when the two resurgent domes collapsed at the same time. The one we see on the live webcam, which is this hill right over here, that is the Mallard Lake Resurgent Dome. They're currently looking, or they were looking at Yellowstone, or Old Faithful. It looked a little dirty, didn't it? Oh, they went back. The road is open for snowmobilers. Yeah, it looks a little dirty. But anyways, this is the Mallard Lake Resurgent Dome. And then the other one is the Sour Creek Resurgent Dome. Both these erupted, collapsed at the same time, and then they had their major eruption. And you can see areas where the ground is heated because of the melted snow. Supposedly it's 19 degrees there. I do not know what the wind chill is right now. I downloaded 4 monitors. This one here is the borehole 207 for the Madison River area. And it comes in as a magnitude 2.86. Let me go to the spectrogram right there. And they're saying it was 6 miles below sea level. All earthquakes are measured in sea level. Looks like Holmes Hill. I got the western boundary here on the left. The monitor for the borehole next to it. Holmes Hill, the second from the right. And Soda Butte. But Holmes Hill has one marked in red. Let me bring it down right there more recently at 1412. So that would be universal time. So that would have been 7:12 a.m. today at the park, mountain time. And that comes in as a magnitude 1.30. They are not, as you can see, reporting it. And again, this is Holmes Hill. Yeah, this one here actually looks like it was 2 quakes. Let's go back to the more recent one. And let's see what we got. Harmonic tremors right there, or volcanic tremors with tectonic tremors. And then we got a small one there. Let me make that one bigger. Right there, it looks like we got some little drum beats. Let's extract that. Or make it bigger, I should say. Yeah, magma on the move. Yeah, you really should read that book, Cataclysm, by Tim Washburn. That'll be a real eye-opener for you. All right, let's go back. See, this earthquake shows up at the borehole also. Yeah, so it's not like just one earthquake at one location. Yeah, this is borehole 207. And it also shows this one here. Let's see what that's showing. Yeah, I can't really tell. And this looks like tectonic. in nature. And this is what it was showing when I pulled the files. Not too bad. Again, Holmes Hill is let me show you. Well, this one here is the borehole 207 West Yellowstone. Yeah, where the buffalo fleeing the park. Okay, let me bring it out. And let's see here. Maple Creek. Holmes Hill, right there. See, that's where the buffalo got ran over. Getting to be a interesting video. Yeah, Bigfoot possibly there at Pork Chop Geyser. Buffalo getting killed on the highway when they're possibly leaving the park. So let's take look at the signature here for the borehole. Yeah, I would say mostly tectonic in nature. Well, we do know that the North American plate is, oh, they got another one marked in red, is slowly moving. All right, this one's not being reported also. This is the borehole. That comes in as a magnitude 1.75. Let me bring it down so you can see it. Those of you that might be watching it on TV or larger screens. MD 1.75. And then we got blobs of magma. Yeah, harmonic tremors right there. And yeah, and there too. Look at that. Yeah, magma on the move. Again, this is the borehole. It does not pick up any outside noise. Only what goes on under the ground, 5 to probably 600 feet under the ground. Here's the diagram for that borehole. Borehole 207, Madison River area. Let me make this bigger. And let's see how deep it is. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is much deeper. This one for the earthquake monitor is 661 feet under the ground. And then they got the strain meter showing which direction it's supposed to be pushing. But I don't have that for you. That is 687 feet under the ground. Let me bring this back up. Okay, and see what they got the casing. And the top is covered with cement. Yeah. And they have also here another tilt meter so they know which way, yeah, it's being forced. And that one's 80 feet. All right, and this earthquake shows up on 2 different monitors. It shows up on the borehole 207, and it also shows up on Holmes Hill. Yeah. Now, the western boundary, the western entrance, yeah, we still got the lines of melt. I talked about how there's pockets of melt about 600 feet under the ground where people are walking. And they've talked about how they got, there's a small quake there. The melt there is actually greater under the ground than what USGS was telling us. It's probably 15 to 20% melt. They only need a 30% melt where they figure it would erupt. So anyways, yeah, I don't see any screaming currently. Yeah. This is, let me show you what it was showing when I pulled the files a little while ago. Right there. Alright, we got some buffalo down here by the river. I don't know if you can see those little spots there unless you're on a bigger screen. So that's what I have for you today. Yeah, you're on your own. If there's a disaster, say a firestorm, a storm, a tornado, yeah, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, things like that, you're just going to have the average citizen more than likely risking their lives to save your little button. Oh, we got some over here on the other side of the river. Yeah, they're all moving west. So, what are your thoughts about all this? Yeah, are the buffalo leaving the park, trying to leave the park? Is that why they were run over by the semi and 2 cars, 13 of them killed? Such a tragedy. And what do you think about that image of Bigfoot? Yeah. Please put those comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Please stay safe. And I will talk to you later. God bless you. Bye.